The penultimate segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias, that is the second to last segment for the uninitiated, because you know what? It used to be the Sam Stokes rest in peace segment, but he's dead to us now because he just left. And we got Walker, which is awesome, except for the fact that we don't want to put him on camera because we don't want you to see that. Anyway, diving in, I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. We have a great crew here for you. Grant Galatas has given way to Chef Willie Gaspard of Mr. Lester Steakhouse, the executive chef here, which I want to stab him with my fork and take him home and hold him hostage. Like, literally, I want to put him in a well and look at him and say, it puts the lotion on its skin and it cooks. That's what I want, right? Because what he does is just that good. What, Renee?
Why do you want to stab him with a fork?
Because
this guy feeds us.
Because that way I get to keep him. I want him for myself.
No, you hurt him.
I want him for myself.
Well,
right?
you just take him. Don't stab him with a fork. I mean, this man feeds us awesome food.
He does feed us awesome food. We're going to talk about what he's fed us in just a minute. Caleb?
And see, the problem with that is I don't want him to put lotion on his skin. I'm not that weird. I'm like, it puts the food in the oven.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like, I could stop at that. I could do that. It puts the food in the oven.
Yeah, I can live with that. It puts the food in the oven. I like that. That's a good twist. I like that. All right, so Chef Willie, before we get into did p-diddy did it, let's talk about the two entrees you have rolled out. First of all, it was the charred tomatoes, smoked tomato mussels.
Yes, sir.
What was the inspiration for that?
Sitting on the patio.
Okay, we're gonna have to explain this at some point.
No,
that's not a good explanation.
We need to have outtakes. So,
too
whiskey.
We'll call it too much whiskey. Sitting on the patio, too much whiskey. Decided to smoke a tomato, and that's not the only thing that got smoked. I'm just saying.
So, obviously, the mussels don't come from Louisiana. Those are Prince Edward Island mussels.
They were beautiful, by the way.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God. They're to my left.
A lot of people don't necessarily realize that seafood today is a little bit different than it used to be, because it used to be you only ate seafood when you could see the coast. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Today, because of really, really big shipping companies that can do things within 24 hours. So first of all, love everybody out there. I love my shrimpers out there. Just so you know, there's no such thing as a never frozen shrimp, because when they come out of the water, they go straight into the hull of the boat, which has what in it, Chef?
Ice and
which
salt.
does what to the shrimp?
It
freezes it, right? It's frozen right out of the water. Everything is frozen right out of the water. But the ability to get seafood that literally was caught less than 24 hours ago,
absolutely.
It happens, and that's what you're sourcing, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, the inspiration for the mussels, where I talked to my guys at Louisiana Seafood Exchange on Tuesday. I said, what's the best thing you got right now? He said, man, you need to see these mussels. So I said, send them to me. That's what I'm cooking. And I came up with smoked tomato, and that was it.
And they're absolutely incredible. And the broth, by the way, I mentioned you're supposed to dip the bread in the broth. Do it. It's just worth it.
Right.
So are you going to have that on the menu this weekend?
No, I couldn't get enough. But
so you did that just for us?
Just for you.
Oh, man, now, Chef, Walker, well done. Well done, Walker. The pledge is learning. All right.
Are you crying? There's no crying in dinner.
It can be when Chef Willie's cooking.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so that was one of the things, but you do specials like that all the time. You basically find out what's the best that you got, and you do all these specials.
Absolutely. We actually have some sea bass this weekend. That's really nice.
Oh.
So
yeah, sea bass done well is exceptional.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are we looking at now? Because this is the second entree that is ridiculous.
Lamb is my, by far, favorite meat to eat.
Ring that bell next to you, because I agree. If you can get good lamb,
absolutely,
it is an exceptional red meat, just delicious beyond belief.
I prefer lamb over beef any day.
Mm-hmm.
And the orzo pasta jambalaya, I've been doing that for years. I've won a lot of money at competitions with that.
And you can sample it by coming here.
That allows me to sit on the patio and
there you go.
So, and then I took a crawfish and tasso and made a little relish out of it to put on there, because lamb goes great with something sweet, and finished it off with something from Louisiana, a little crawfish and tasso.
It is I've always been a fan of taking a French rack, slicing it into double chops, doing like a chili, garlic, thyme type glaze, right? Little olive oil. But the sweetness really sets it off. It's not something I've ever done before. And oh my goodness, chef, just absolutely delicious. So I got to ask, these are the types of specials that you do basically every weekend?
Yep. We do something like that every weekend. Usually we do something seafood. Every once in a while we do a beef dish or lamb dish. This weekend we're doing a beef dish. We're doing a classic beef Wellington. This weekend.
Okay, I've had your beef Wellington here because you've done it for us when we do things like Implicit Birthday, or actually when we do Winter Implicit Dinner or Summer Supper. Yep. You've done them before. Off the charts good. Yep. Just delicious. That puff pastry is cooked so perfectly. Mm-hmm. So, Chef, look, I appreciate what you've cooked. And you've got dessert coming for us as well, correct?
Yep. Absolutely.
You did a deep fried cheesecake with a caramel stuffed apple, correct?
Deep fried cheesecake stuffed caramel apple.
Okay, so wait. The caramel apple is stuffed with cheesecake and then the whole thing's deep fried? What are we talking about here?
So the apple is hollowed out, filled with cream cheese, cheesecake. I baked it, and then I cooled it, breaded it with cornflakes, and fried it. Then I dipped it in caramel sauce.
Oh my God.
Oh dear Lord. That sounds almost as bad as what Tim Tebow was talking about on social media with what people were doing. Like, it sounds sinful.
You just ruined so much. Ruined so much.
It sounds sinful. Does it not sound sinful?
That is more than sinful.
Yeah, no, what Tim Tebow was talking about was terrible. I had to go there because I had to kind of broach that topic.
Oh, that's not a good segue.
That might be the worst segue we've had of the show. Yeah.
That's worse than my stuff. Like,
okay, so for those who don't know, one of the reasons we do this show is because we believe that there are things that should be enjoyed in life and there are things that are absolutely wrong in life. Things that should be enjoyed are like the food here at Mr. Lester's. Things that are wrong, go look up Tim Tebow on social media, and those things are wrong. Just flat out wrong. And you got people who are okay with this.
they're more than okay. They seek it out and they desire it. That is where it hurts my stomach. It hurts my soul. These people were texting about what they wanted to do to innocent children.
And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail. The only detail I'm going to give is that one person said, this child is getting too old. They're approaching the age of 9.
When I heard that, oh my God. I remember my children at 9 years old and just the joy for life they had and the innocent attitude and the future that was in front of them. And when I hear people talking about what they did to these children, it's an abomination.
There's only one way to cure this, and we know this. I'm not going to say that, but there's only one way to cure it. Renee, you want to chime in real quick?
All I can say is that's a bunch of sick mother.
Yeah, Walker missed it. He missed it. It's okay. So Renee, look, I agree. You're absolutely right. Which brings us to P. Diddler. Right? That absolutely bridges the gap to the person that has been called out by multiple people. I mean, what, 50 Cent called him out? You had a lot of people calling out P. Diddy. You had a lot of people saying way before, God, what's the guy's name that got arrested for the murder of Tupac a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago? You had somebody arrested for the murder of Tupac and basically Keefe D. Yeah.
Keefe D.
Okay, give yourself a win there, Walker. I'm impressed that you remembered Keefe D. Yes, it was Keefe D who was arrested for the murder of Tupac, which, by the way, take a guess who they're saying set that up. P. Diddy. And now you've got P. Diddy under arrest, held without bail. And guess what? That may bring down the house when we talk about the cards that are constructed, the houses that are built, and the final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias, which will bring about P. Diddy, the Tay-Tay, the endorsement, and the whole 9 yards when we come back.